The ship came out of faster-than-light travel with a soft hum. Through the main window, the crew of the Sunrise could see a small moon floating in the darkness of space. It was gray and dead. No plants, no water, no life. Just rocks and dust stretching across its surface like an old wound that never healed. Han stood at the back of the bridge, watching the moon grow larger as they moved closer. He was not a scientist or a soldier, he was just a maintenance engineer. His job was to fix broken pipes, replace old wires, and make sure the ship did not fall apart in the middle of nowhere. It was simple work, but he liked it. Machines made sense to him. They did not argue. They did not lie. When something was wrong, they showed it clearly and he could fix it. Captain Ho stood at the center of the bridge with his hands behind his back. He was a calm man with gray hair at his temples and eyes that had seen many strange things across the galaxy. He had been a captain for 20 years and nothing surprised him anymore. But today, even he felt something different in the air. "We are approaching the coordinates," said the navigation officer. "The energy readings are coming from the southern region of the moon." "Take us down," said Captain Ho. "Slowly, we do not know what we are dealing with." Stood near the science station, her fingers moving across the screen. She was which meant she studied alien life. She was young but very smart, and the captain trusted her judgment. Right now, her face showed confusion. "Captain," she said, "the energy signature is strange. It is not mechanical, it is not natural either. It is something in between, almost like a heartbeat." The captain raised an eyebrow. "A heartbeat on a dead moon." "I know it sounds impossible," said, "but the readings do not lie." The ship descended through the thin atmosphere and landed on a flat plain of gray rock. Dust rose around them and then settled. Through the windows they could see something in the distance. A structure. No, not a structure. A figure. It stood at the center of a massive circular area, like an ancient arena or amphitheater. The ground around it was carved with patterns that had faded over millions of years, and at the center of it all was the figure itself. It was huge, 30 meters tall at least. It had the shape of a person but was clearly not human. Its body was made of something between stone and flesh, covered in armor that seemed to have grown into its skin over time. Its arms hung at its sides. Its head was bowed slightly and its eyes were closed. It looked like a statue, frozen in time. But the energy readings said it was alive. The crew put on their suits and stepped outside. The air was thin and cold, but their suits kept them warm. They walked toward the figure in silence, their boots crunching on the rocky ground. Han followed behind the others, carrying a box of equipment. He was not important enough to walk in front. He was just here to set up the cables and sensors. But as they got closer to the figure, he could not stop staring at it. It was beautiful in a sad way. Like a tree that had been standing alone in a desert for 1,000 years, strong but tired, proud but forgotten. "This is the eternal Sentinel," said, reading from her tablet. "Galactic records mention it. Many species have come here over the past 12 million years. Scientists, soldiers, treasure hunters. They all tried to study it, wake it, or take it apart. None of them succeeded. It has never moved, never responded. Most people now believe it is just a statue, a relic of a dead civilization." "But it is alive," said Captain Ho. "Yes," said barely. "Its life signs are so faint that most scanners would miss them, but it is definitely alive, just sleeping or waiting." "Waiting for what?" asked one of the crew members. Shook her head. "No one knows." The captain gave orders to set up a research camp around the Sentinel. Tents were raised. Equipment was unpacked. Scientists began their scans and measurements. Everyone was busy, everyone was focused, and everyone treated the Sentinel like an object to be studied. Everyone except Han. He was running cables near the Sentinel's massive foot. The foot alone was taller than him, made of that strange stone flesh material. Up close, he could see tiny cracks in its surface like wrinkles on an old face. He wondered how long it had been standing here. 12 million years, had said. That was longer than he could imagine. longer than human history, longer than most stars. He stopped working for a moment and looked up. The Sentinel's face was high above him, but he could see it clearly against the gray sky. Its eyes were closed. Its expression was blank, but there was something about the way it stood that made Han feel strange. It did not look like a statue to him. It looked like someone who was very, very tired. He had seen that look before. On old workers who had spent their whole lives doing hard jobs, on soldiers who had fought too many battles, on people who had carried heavy burdens for so long that they had forgotten what it felt like to rest. Han was not a scientist. He did not understand energy signatures or ancient civilizations, but he understood tiredness. He understood loneliness. And looking at this giant figure standing alone on a dead moon, he felt something in his chest, something like sympathy. Without thinking, he called up to it. "Hey," he said. His voice was casual, like he was talking to you good. The words echoed slightly in the thin air and then faded. Nothing happened. The Sentinel did not move. Its eyes did not open. The wind blew dust across the ground and everything was silent. Han shrugged. He felt a little silly for talking to a giant statue, but it had felt like the right thing to do. He picked up his tools and went back to work, pulling cables and connecting sensors. He did not notice the faint flicker of light deep within the Sentinel's chest. He did not see the tiny twitch of its fingers. He did not know that for the first time in 12 million years, something had changed. Deep inside the Sentinel, in a place that had been dark and silent for longer than most galaxies had existed, a single thought formed. It was weak. It was confused. It was like a person waking from a dream they could not remember. But it was there. And it remembered the words. "You good?" Such a simple question, such a small thing, but in all the millions of years, across all the thousands of visitors, no one had ever asked it. Scientists had asked what it was. Soldiers had asked what it could do. Treasure hunters had asked what it was worth. Everyone had wanted something from it. But this small creature with the soft voice had wanted nothing. He had just asked if it was okay. The Sentinel did not move. Not yet. It was too weak, too slow, too old. But something inside it had started to wake up. Something that had been waiting for a very long time. And for the first time in 12 million years, the eternal Sentinel felt something that it had almost forgotten existed. Hope 2 days passed on the dead moon. The research camp had grown larger, more tense, more equipment, more scientists walking around with tablets in their hands and confusion on their faces. Something was happening and no one could explain it. It started with small things. The lights in the camp would flicker for no reason. Equipment would turn on and off by itself. The temperature around the Sentinel rose by 2 degrees, which should have been impossible on a moon with no heat source. Spent hours staring at her screens trying to understand the data. "This does not make sense," she said to Captain Ho. "The Sentinel's neural activity is increasing. It is like watching a brain wake up from a coma, but nothing like this has ever been recorded. For 12 million years it showed almost no brain activity. Now, suddenly, it is changing." "What caused it?" asked the captain. "I do not know," said. "Nothing we did should have triggered this. We only ran standard scans. The same scans that hundreds of other expeditions have run before." The captain looked out at the Sentinel standing in the distance. It had not moved. Its eyes were still closed, but even he could feel that something was different. The air around it felt heavier somehow, more alive. "Should we leave?" asked one of the officers. "If it wakes up, we do not know what it will do. It could be dangerous." Captain Ho thought for a long moment. "No," he said finally. "We came here to learn. We will not run from the first mystery, but everyone stays alert. If anything happens, we retreat to the ship immediately." That night Han was assigned to monitoring duty. It was boring work. He just had to sit in a small tent near the Sentinel and watch the screens to make sure nothing unusual happened. Of course, Everything unusual had already happened, but those were not his problems. He was just the maintenance guy. He sat in his chair, eating a ration pack. The food was not good, but he was used to it. After years of working on ships, he had learned to eat anything without complaining. He chewed slowly and stared at the Sentinel through the tent's clear wall. It really was massive. In the darkness, it looked even more impressive. The starlight from above made its armor shine faintly. Its shadow stretched across the ground like a blanket. Han finished his food and leaned back in his chair. He was bored. There was nothing to do but wait. So he did what he always did when he was bored. He started talking. "Long day, huh?" he said to the Sentinel. He knew it could not hear him. He knew it was silly. But talking to things was a habit he had never broken. He talked to machines when he fixed them. He talked to plants when he watered them. He even talked to the ship when it made strange noises. "I bet you are tired of people poking at you," he continued. "Everyone coming here, scanning you, taking samples. Must be annoying, like being a bug under a magnifying glass." The Sentinel did not respond. Of course it did not. Han stretched his arms and looked up at the sky. "I miss Earth," he said. "Well, not Earth exactly. I have never been to Earth. I grew up on a colony station near Mars, but I miss rain. I saw rain once when I visited a planet in the outer systems. It was amazing. Water just falling from the sky. Can you imagine?" He laughed softly to himself. "Sorry, I talk too much. My mother always said I could talk to a wall and make it answer. Guess I am still trying." He fell silent for a moment, listening to the wind outside. Then he looked at the Sentinel again. "You know," he said, "I do not know why everyone is so scared of you. You do not look scary to me, you just look lonely." The word hung in the air. Lonely. It was a simple word, a common word, but something about saying it felt important. Han did not see the Sentinel's hand move. He did not notice the massive fingers slowly unclenching, spreading apart like a flower opening after a long winter. But the sensors noticed. Alarms started screaming across the camp. Red lights flashed. Han jumped out of his chair, knocking over his empty ration pack. He looked at the screens and saw the readings going crazy. "What the?" He ran out of the tent and looked up at the Sentinel. In the flashing lights of the alarm, he could see it clearly. The hand. The right hand, which had been closed in a fist for 12 million years, was now open. People came running from all directions. Scientists, officers, crew members. Everyone stared at the Sentinel with wide eyes. Some were excited, some were terrified, some did not know what to feel. Captain Ho pushed through the crowd and stood next to Han. "What happened?" he demanded. "I do not know," said Han. "I was just sitting there talking, and then the alarms went off." "Talking?" the captain frowned. "Talking to who?" Han pointed at the Sentinel. "To it." Ran up to them, her tablet in her hands. Her face was pale, but her eyes were shining with excitement. "Captain, look at this." The neural activity spiked exactly when the hand moved. "This is the first recorded movement of the Eternal Sentinel in history. Whatever happened, it happened just now." The captain looked at Han for a long moment. "What exactly did you say to it?" Han felt very uncomfortable with everyone staring at him. "Nothing important, I said it looked lonely. And before that I asked if it was okay. That is all. I was just talking." Grabbed his arm. "You asked if it was okay." "Yes, I asked you good, yesterday. And tonight I said it looked lonely. I was just making conversation. I did not think it could actually hear me." Turned to the captain. "Sir, I think I understand. Every expedition that came here before us had a purpose. They wanted to study the Sentinel or take something from it or use it for their own goals. No one ever came here just to talk to it. No one ever treated it like a person." "Because it is not a person," said one of the officers. "It is an ancient machine or a statue or something." "It is alive," said firmly. "The readings prove it, and living things have feelings. even if those feelings are very old and very buried. Maybe after 12 million years of being treated like an object, it responded to someone who treated it like someone. The camp fell silent. Everyone looked at the Sentinel. Its hand was still open, fingers spread toward the sky. Its eyes were still closed, but somehow in that moment it did not look like a statue anymore. It looked like someone reaching out. Captain Ho made a decision. "We wait," he said. "We do not touch it, we do not scan it, we just wait and see what happens next." And Han straightened up. "Yes, sir. Tomorrow, I want you to talk to it again." Han blinked. "Me, but I am just." "You are the first person in 12 million years to make it move," said the captain. "That makes you the most important person on this moon. Get some rest. You have a big day tomorrow." The captain walked away, giving orders to the crew, squeezed Han's arm and smiled before running off to her equipment. Soon, the camp was quiet again. The alarms stopped. The lights returned to normal. Han stood alone, looking up at the Sentinel. "I do not know what I did," he whispered, "but I hope you are okay in there. I really do." Above him, hidden in the darkness of its ancient face, the Sentinel's closed eyes flickered. Just for a moment, just a tiny spark of light. And if Han had looked closely, he might have seen something that looked almost like tears. The morning came slowly on the dead moon. There was no sun, only the distant glow of stars and the pale light of a faraway gas giant. The camp was quiet. Everyone had stayed up late watching the Sentinel, waiting for something else to happen. But nothing did. It stood there with its hand open, frozen again, like a statue that had moved once and then forgotten how. Han did not sleep well. He kept thinking about what the captain had said. Talk to it again. But what was he supposed to say? He was not a diplomat or a scientist. He did not know the right words for first contact with an ancient being. He just knew how to fix broken things and make small talk. After breakfast, Captain Ho gathered the senior crew near the Sentinel. Was there, along with the chief of security and a few other officers. Han stood at the edge of the group, feeling out of place. "We have a unique opportunity here," said the captain. "For millions of years, every species that visited this moon failed to communicate with the Sentinel. But last night something changed, and it changed because of a simple conversation." He looked at Han. "I want you to try again. Just be yourself. Talk to it like you did before." "What if it does not respond?" asked Han. "Then we learned something," said the captain. "What if it does?" "What if it gets angry?" asked the security chief. "We do not know anything about this thing. It could be dangerous." "Every great discovery involves risk," said, "but I do not think it is dangerous. The readings show no hostility. If anything, the emotional patterns look like sadness, loneliness, like it has been waiting for a very long time." The security chief did not look convinced, but he did not argue. Everyone looked at Han. "Okay," said Han, taking a deep breath. "I will try." He walked toward the Sentinel alone. The crew stayed back, watching from a safe distance. Their eyes followed him as he crossed the ancient stone floor of the amphitheater, his footsteps echoing in the silence. He stopped at the base of the Sentinel and looked up. From here, it was even more impressive. Its body rose above him like a mountain. Its face was lost in shadows. Its open hand hung in the air, fingers reaching for something that was not there. Han waved awkwardly. "Hey," he said. "It is me again, the guy who talks too much. Sorry if I bothered you last night. I did not mean to wake you up. Well, I guess I did wake you up. A little bit. Sorry about that." Nothing happened. The Sentinel did not move. Han scratched the back of his head. "So, everyone is watching right now. They think I am some kind of expert at talking to giant ancient statues, which is funny because I am really not. I am just a guy who fixes pipes and wires. I do not know why you responded to me." Still nothing. He tried again. "You have been standing here for a really long time, huh? 12 million years, they said. That is a long time. I cannot even imagine. I get tired after standing for an hour. You must be exhausted." The wind blew across the amphitheater, stirring up dust. Han waited. He was starting to feel foolish. Maybe last night was just a coincidence. Maybe he was not special after all. Then he saw it. The Sentinel's eyes opened. It happened slowly, like a door that had been stuck for centuries finally moving on rusty hinges. Light appeared in the darkness of its face. 2 points of soft, pale light, like stars that had been buried underground and were finally seeing the sky again. Han stopped breathing. The eyes moved, they looked down, and they saw him. For a moment nothing else existed. There was no camp, no crew, no dead moon. There was only Han and the Sentinel looking at each other across a gap of millions of years. Then a voice came. It did not come through the air. It came through Han's mind, directly into his thoughts. It was deep and old and tired, like the sound of mountains settling after an earthquake. 12 million cycles, the voice said, and you are the first to ask if I am good. Han's legs felt weak. He wanted to run. He wanted to scream. But he forced himself to stay calm. He forced himself to answer. I just wanted to know, he said. Are you good, I mean? The Sentinel was silent for a long moment. Its eyes never left Han's face. No, it said finally. I am not good. I have not been good for a very long time, but it has been so long since anyone asked that I almost forgot what the question meant. Han heard gasps from behind him. The crew could hear the voice too. It was speaking to all of them, not just him. What are you? Asked, stepping forward. Her voice shook slightly, but she held her ground. The Sentinel's gaze shifted to her. I am what remains. I am the Guardian. I was created by those who are gone to protect what they left behind and to wait for one who was worthy to receive it. Worthy of what? Asked Captain Ho. Their gift, said the Sentinel. Their final gift to the galaxy, a seed of life, a chance to begin again. It lies beneath this moon, waiting. I have protected it for 12 million cycles. I have watched civilizations rise and fall. I have seen empires bloom and die. And in all that time no one came who was worthy. Why not? Asked Han. What makes someone worthy? The Sentinel looked at him again. There was something in its eyes now, something warm. My creators knew that the seed must not fall into the wrong hands, it said. So they gave me a test, a simple test. I was to wait for someone who approached without greed, without fear, without agenda, someone who did not want anything from me, someone who simply cared. And no one passed, asked, in 12 million years. No one, said the Sentinel. Scientists came, they wanted to understand me. Soldiers came, they wanted to control me. Thieves came, they wanted to take me apart for treasure. Everyone wanted something. Everyone looked at me and saw a tool or a puzzle or a prize. No one saw me. Its voice grew softer, sadder. And then this one came. The Sentinel looked at Han. He did not scan me. He did not study me. He sat down near my feet and talked to me about rain. He asked if I was good. He said I looked lonely. The Sentinel's massive hand moved again. It lowered slowly, carefully, until it was hovering just above Han's head. In 12 million cycles, across thousands of species and millions of visitors, he was the first to see me as someone who might need kindness. He was the first to care without wanting anything in return. Han felt tears in his eyes. He did not know why. He was just a maintenance guy. He had just been talking. He had not done anything special. But looking up at the ancient guardian, at its tired eyes and its reaching hand, he understood something. Sometimes the most powerful thing in the universe was not strength, or intelligence, or technology. Sometimes it was just asking someone if they were okay. What happens now? Asked Captain Ho. The Sentinel straightened. For the first time it stood at its full height, no longer bowed by the weight of ages. Now, it said, I will show you what I have protected, and I will finally rest. The ground beneath the amphitheater began to shake. Cracks appeared in the ancient stone, spreading outward like the branches of a tree. The crew stepped back in fear, but the Sentinel raised its hand, and somehow they knew they were safe. "Do not be afraid," said the voice in their minds. "The path is opening, follow me." The Sentinel turned and walked for the first time in 12 million years. Its steps were slow and heavy, and each one made the ground tremble. But there was something graceful about it too, like watching a mountain learn to dance. It walked toward the center of the amphitheater where the cracks had grown largest. As it approached, the stones split apart and fell away, revealing a staircase carved into the rock. The stairs led down into darkness, deep beneath the surface of the moon. "Come," said the Sentinel. Captain Ho looked at his crew. Some were scared, some were excited, all of them were uncertain, but they had come this far, they could not turn back now. "Stay close," said the captain, "and stay calm." They followed the Sentinel down the stairs. Han walked near the front, with beside him. The walls of the staircase were covered in carvings and symbols that glowed faintly with blue light, stared at them with wide eyes. "These are records," she whispered. "History, stories. This is the language of the civilization that built the Sentinel. It is older than anything we have ever found." "Can you read it?" asked Han. "No," said, "but I think we are about to learn." The staircase ended in a vast underground chamber. The ceiling was so high that it disappeared into darkness. The walls were lined with more carvings, more symbols, more stories, and in the center of the chamber, floating in a column of soft white light, was a sphere. It was about the size of a human head, made of crystal that seemed to hold a universe inside it. Colors swirled within it, blues and greens and golds, like galaxies being born. "The seed," said the Sentinel, "the last gift of my creators." Everyone stood in silence, staring at the sphere. It was the most beautiful thing any of them had ever seen. "Before I give it to you," said the Sentinel, "you must understand what it is, and to understand you must see. Will you let me show you?" "Show us how?" asked Captain Ho. "Through memory," said the Sentinel. "I will share my thoughts with you. You will see what I have seen. You will know what I know. It will not hurt, but it will change you. Nothing is the same after you have carried 12 million years in your heart." The captain looked at his crew. "This is your choice," he said. "No one has to do this." No one stepped back, not even the ones who were scared. Han looked up at the Sentinel. "We are ready," he said. The Sentinel closed its eyes. The light in the chamber grew brighter, and suddenly they were no longer on the moon. They were somewhere else, somewhere long ago. They saw a world full of life, cities that floated in the sky, forests that sang with music, oceans that glowed with light, and walking through it all tall beings with kind faces and gentle hands, the creators, the ones who had built the Sentinel. "We were called said the Sentinel's voice echoing through the vision. "We lived for millions of years. We learned the secrets of the stars. We built wonders that spanned galaxies, but we also learned something else, something important." The vision changed. The beautiful world was dying, the cities were falling, the forests were burning, they were fading away not from war or disease but from age. They were simply old. Their time was ending. "All things end," said the Sentinel. "Even civilizations that last for millions of years. We knew our time was coming. We were not sad. We had lived well, but we wanted to leave something behind, a gift for those who would come after us." The vision showed the working together, building something, the sphere, the seed. "We gathered all our knowledge, all our hope, all our love, and we put it into the seed. It contains the power to bring life to dead worlds, to heal broken ecosystems, to give second chances to those who have lost everything. But such power is dangerous in the wrong hands, so we created a guardian." The vision showed a young stepping forward. He was tall and strong, with eyes full of courage. He did not look like the stone giant that stood before them now. He looked alive. "My name was," said the Sentinel. "I was a teacher. I spent my life helping others learn and grow. When the elders asked for a volunteer to become the guardian, I offered myself. They warned me of what it would mean. Millions of years of loneliness, millions of years of waiting. I said yes anyway. I believed that someone worthy would come. I believed that kindness still existed in the universe. The vision showed being transformed. His body was changed into stone and metal, made to last forever. His mind was expanded to hold centuries of waiting. He was placed on the dead moon, standing watch over the seed. And then he waited. The vision became darker. Time passed. Civilizations came and went, species evolved and died, and through it all stood alone. He watched visitors come. Scientists who saw him as a puzzle, soldiers who saw him as a weapon, thieves who saw him as treasure. Each one failed the test. Each one saw only what they could take, never what they could give. Han felt the loneliness pressing on his heart. It was heavy, so heavy. He wanted to cry. He wanted to scream. How could anyone bear this? How could anyone survive this much emptiness? I almost gave up, said, many times. The darkness was so deep. The silence was so loud. I began to forget why I was waiting. I began to forget what kindness felt like. I began to wonder if I had made a mistake, if hope was just a story for children. The vision showed the Sentinel standing on the dead moon, frozen, fatting, losing itself in the endless night. And then you came. The vision changed one last time. It showed the sunrise landing on the moon. It showed the crew setting up their camp. It showed Han running cables near the Sentinel's foot. It showed him looking up. It showed him asking, "You good?" In that moment, said, I remembered. I remembered why I chose this path. I remembered what I was waiting for, not for the strongest, not for the most powerful. I was waiting for the kindest. I was waiting for someone who would look at a lonely stranger and ask if they were okay. The vision faded. They were back in the chamber, standing before the floating sphere. Had tears running down her face. Captain Ho was silent, his jaw tight with emotion. Even the security chief, who never showed feelings, looked shaken. Han wiped his eyes. He said, using the name for the first time, "I am sorry. I am so sorry you had to wait so long." The Sentinel looked down at him, and for the first time, its stone face seemed to soften. Something like a smile appeared on its ancient features. "Do not be sorry," said, "you came. That is all that matters. You came and you asked if I was good. And for the first time in 12 million years, I think I finally am." The chamber was quiet. The crew of the Sunrise stood in a circle around the glowing sphere, still processing everything they had seen. 12 million years of memories, 12 million years of waiting. It was too much to understand, too heavy to carry, but they tried. Moved toward the sphere. His massive body seemed lighter now, as if a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. The light from the sphere reflected off his stone skin, making him look almost alive again. "The seed is ready," he said. "It has been ready for a very long time. All it needed was someone to receive it, someone worthy." He turned and looked at Han. "Me," said Han, taking a step back. "No, no, no, I cannot take that. I am just a maintenance guy. I fix pipes. I am not special." "You are the one who woke me," said. "You are the one who asked if I was good. In the eyes of my creators, that makes you the most special person in this galaxy." Han shook his head. "But I do not know what to do with it. I do not know how to use it. There must be someone better, a scientist, a leader, someone who actually knows things." "That is exactly why you are worthy," said. "Those who seek power are never ready for it. Those who run from it, who know their own limits, who ask for help instead of demanding control. They are the ones who can be trusted." Stepped forward. "He is right, Han. Everything we saw in the visions, everything they believed in. It was not about being smart or strong. It was about being kind. You have that. You always have." Captain Ho nodded. "You will not be alone. Whatever this seed does, whatever responsibility comes with it, we will share it. You are part of a crew. You are part of a family. We carry burdens together." Han looked at his friends, They were all watching him with trust in their eyes. They believed in him. Even when he did not believe in himself, they believed in him. He took a deep breath and stepped toward the sphere. "Okay," he said quietly. "I will try, but I am going to need a lot of help." "That is all anyone can ever promise," said, "to try, to ask for help, to keep moving forward even when the path is dark. That is enough. That has always been enough." Reached out with his massive hand and touched the sphere. It pulsed with light, and then it floated down from its column and drifted toward Han. It hovered in front of him, warm and bright, waiting. Han reached out and took it. The moment his fingers touched the crystal, he felt something rush through him. Knowledge, history, hope. The dreams of a civilization that had loved the universe so much that they gave everything to protect it. The dreams of who had waited for so long, never giving up, never losing faith. It was not power, it was not a weapon. It was a promise that life would continue, that kindness would survive, that even in the darkest places, someone would always reach out and ask if you were okay. Han held the sphere against his chest and closed his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. "I will not let you down." "I know you will not," said. Something was happening to the Sentinel. His body was starting to glow. Cracks of light appeared across his stone skin, spreading like veins of gold. He was not falling apart. He was transforming. He was finally letting go. "What is happening?" asked alarm in her voice. "My purpose is complete," said. His voice was peaceful calm. "I have guarded the seed for 12 million years. I have found the one who will carry it forward. My duty is done. I can finally rest." "No," said Han. He stepped toward the Sentinel, still holding the sphere. "You cannot leave, not now, not after everything. There must be another way. Stay with us, come with us." Smiled. It was a real smile, not just a crack in stone, but a true expression of happiness. "You are kind. Even now you think of others before yourself. That is why I trust you." He knelt down, lowering his massive face to Han's level. The light was growing brighter. His body was becoming transparent, turning into pure energy. "I am not dying," said. "I am becoming something new. I have been stoned for so long that I forgot what it was like to be free. Now I will be part of the stars, part of the light. I will be everywhere and nowhere, and I will watch over you, all of you, always." Tears streamed down Han's face. "Will we ever see you again?" "Every time you look up at the night sky," said, "I will be there. Every time you feel lost and then find your way, I will be there. Every time someone asks another being if they are okay, I will be there. You have given me something far more valuable than the seed. You have given me peace." The light grew blinding. His body dissolved into countless particles of light that rose up through the ceiling, through the rock, into the sky above the moon. They spread across the darkness like a new constellation, like a billion stars being born all at once. And then he was gone. The chamber was quiet. The crew stood in silence, looking at the ceiling even though they could not see through it. Somewhere up there was free. Somewhere up there he was finally at rest. Han held the sphere tightly. It was warm in his hands, pulsing with a gentle light. He did not know what to do with it yet. He did not know how to use it or where to take it. But he knew he would figure it out. He had his crew. He had his friends. He was not alone. They returned to the surface in silence. The staircase sealed itself behind them, the stones moving back into place as if they had never been disturbed. The amphitheater looked the same as before, except for one thing. The Sentinel was gone. Where it had stood for 12 million years, there was only empty space. But looking up at the sky, they could see something new. A cluster of stars that had not been there before. They sparkled with a soft, warm light, forming a shape that almost looked like a person standing with open arms, watching over them, just like he promised. The crew returned to the sunrise and prepared for departure. Word was sent back to the Galactic Council about what they had found. Within hours, the story spread across 1,000 worlds. The Eternal Sentinel had awakened. A human had done what millions could not. A simple question had broken 12 million years of silence. And everyone wanted to know, what did it mean? As the ship lifted off from the dead moon, Han sat alone in his quarters. The sphere rested on his desk, glowing softly. He looked at it for a long time, thinking about everything that had happened. Came to check on him. She sat down beside him and looked at the sphere too. "What are you thinking?" she asked. "I am thinking about what's said," Han answered. About how his creators believed that kindness was the only force worth waiting for. About how all those other species failed because they only saw what they could take, never what they could give. He turned to look at her. What if that is what we are supposed to do with the seed? Not use it as a tool or a weapon, but as a reminder. A reminder that the most powerful thing in the universe is not technology or strength or intelligence. It is caring about each other. Smiled. That sounds like something worth spreading. Han looked back at the sphere. Inside it, colors swirled like newborn galaxies. Potential, promise, hope. "Waited 12 million years for someone to ask if he was okay," said Han. "Maybe our job is to make sure no one ever has to wait that long again. Maybe our job is to keep asking that question, everywhere we go, to everyone we meet." He picked up the sphere and held it to the light. "You good?" The sphere pulsed, as if answering. Somewhere out among the stars, a new constellation sparkled. And across the galaxy, slowly at first, then faster and faster, beings of all species began to look at each other differently. They began to slow down. They began to notice the lonely ones, the tired ones, the forgotten ones. They began to ask, "You good?" And the universe, for the first time in a very long while, began to answer. "Yes, finally, we are good."